Okay, good evening and welcome to the October 15th, 2025 Mercer Island Arts Council regular hybrid meeting. The time is now, according to the clock on the wall, is 5:35. I'm Jonathan Harrington, Chair of the Arts Council. Tonight's Arts Council meeting is an in-person at the Mercer Island Community and Events Center, and we are also using video conferencing technology provided by Zoom. The Zoom video of this meeting is being recorded and will be uploaded to the city's YouTube channel later this week. Public audience members may be listening to the meeting by telephone or online. Welcome to all and thank you for joining us tonight. Councilors, please ensure that your microphones are turned on for the roll call. And if participating remotely, please have your cameras turned on. Will city staff please call the roll?
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Young, Councillor Rajagopal, Councillor Kratzer,
Present.
Councillor Eckley,
Present.
Councillor Rock,
Present.
Vice Chair Scone,
Here.
Chair Harrington.
Here.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, our first item of business is public appearances. This is the opportunity for anyone to speak to the Arts Council about any item, except items requiring a public hearing, any quasi-judicial matters or campaign-related matters. City staff, has anyone signed up for appearances?
Yes, Chair, we have one person in person.
Okay, so individuals wishing to speak live during the appearances portion of our meeting may do so by phone, Zoom, or in person. And provided, however, they have registered their desire to speak with city admin staff by 4 p.m. today. Our city admin staff will call on you by name or telephone number when it is your turn to speak. Please speak audibly and state your name and city of residence for the record. Your comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Staff will provide you with a 10-second notice when your time is about to expire. When your time is ended, I will thank you for your comments and move on to the next speaker or item of business. City staff, please introduce the first speaker.
Thank you, Chair. Bob Harper.
Thank you for the time. I'm Bob Harper, Mercer Island resident and Vietnam veteran. A few weeks ago, I was asked if I'd seen the pergola lately, a structure built to honor the service of our veterans in Mercerdale Park. I was told the white canvas was gone and a black mesh had been installed. I went to look for myself. It was clear the back mesh had been haphazardly installed, and it covered the service logos that are on display there. There were flower pots hanging on it, the paint was faded, and it was covered in bird poop. I sent an email to the park department, and they redid the black netting so it didn't cover the service logos. I inquired about putting the white cover back as it is designed to fit on the hooks of the pergola. I was told it would be a long time to order a new canvas cover. After a few more emails, I got the idea the canvas cover was not going to be replaced, and it was unclear whose responsibility it was to maintain the pergola in good condition. So, by way of a little history, it was the city that appropriated $50,000 for the pergola. They spent about $3,000 trying to come up with an appropriate structure before requesting the Art Council find someone to do the project, which they did. It was dedicated in 2008. In my mind, this makes it a city asset and one that should be maintained in good condition by the city and not the responsibility of the Art Council. After all, we recently passed a $26 million parks levy to be spent on maintaining the parks. I think the Art Council can, if requested, work with the city parks department to establish a formal maintenance plan detailing how often the structure should be power washed, repainted, the canvas cover serviced or replaced, and the service branch logos refreshed. Currently, it's missing the Space Force logo. The plan should also specifically specify its appropriate use. Hanging posters, plants, or lanterns on the Veterans Memorial is as inappropriate as doing so on the Vietnam or Korean memorials in Washington, D.C. However, festive lights during the holidays or live music performances are fitting and respectful uses. And if there are any questions about military protocol, I'm sure we can find someone at the VFW to help. In summary, the pergola should be maintained by the park department. It should be maintained in good condition, and the pergola should always be treated
10
with the
seconds.
reverence it deserves. Thank you. Appreciate the time.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. So if there are no further appearances, we will move on to special business. The first item on the agenda is the staff liaison report and planning schedule update. Welcome, Katie Herzog, Recreation Supervisor and Staff Liaison.
Thank you so much, and welcome to our October meeting. All right. So a few updates. Because our last meeting was in July, I wanted to take a couple slides here to go over a wrap up of our summer, starting with our Mostly Music in the Park concert series. So we had 6 weeks of really fantastic concerts at Mercerdale Park this summer. Music ranged from a Beatles tribute all the way to 80s new wave. Our crowds seem to grow each week. We estimate between 400 and 600 people in the park each Thursday night. And a really special thank you to our sponsors, Mercer Island Community Fund, Seattle Airstream Adventures, Mercer Island Visual Arts League, Covenant Living, King County for Culture, Mercer Island City Lifestyle Magazine, the Crawl Space Gastropub, and Neil Kelly Interiors. Their generosity really enhanced our events this year, and we're already looking forward to concerts next summer. We also held 15 shows of Shakespeare in the Park down at Luther Burbank. Those shows ranged through July and August. They had crowds that reached up to 300 attendees for all of their shows. So a really special thank you to the Seattle Shakespeare Company, the Mercer Island Community Fund for their sponsorship, and also King County for Culture. In June, we celebrated Juneteenth with a partnership of the Mercer Island High School Black Student Union. A really great, warm, sunny day, a lot of great music from Simon Okilo, who was an island resident, and his band. And the high school did a fantastic job helping with this event. And then this year we combined Pride in the Park and had it before one of our Mostly Music concert series. We had a really great turnout of attendees. We had hands-on activities. Mercer Island Visual Arts League was there again with arts and crafts. We had a great showing of community booths and sponsorships, and really look forward to hosting that one again next year as well. And our summer camp, they had a really strong showing this season. We had more than 1,300 kids participate in 10 different camps. They were located here at the community center and all across the island in our parks. Our partnerships with, just some to name a few, Lego. We had Pedalheads bike art classes and camps. It was really great, and we are excited to have a strong season and then look forward to next summer. All right, just this past October 5th, we partnered with the Mercer Island Chinese Association, who brought back the Mid-Autumn Festival here at the Community Center. The event featured cultural performances, hands-on workshops, traditional games, and culinary traditions. There was over 1,000 people in attendance and a really fun day with celebration and connection. And we as a city are very grateful for this community partnership and able to provide this great event for the community. All right, and now some upcoming things. Myville has 2 classes. They have a watercolor class on October 25th and a jigsaw block printing class on November 22nd. Both classes will be held here at the community center. For more information and to register, you can visit myval.org/classes. All right, rake and roll with the Rotary. They are hosting a leaf art day in Rotary Park on Sunday, October 26th. Bring your rakes, your gloves, rain or shine. They're going to be creating some fun leaf art down at that park. That was their event last year, their first annual, and I know they're excited to get more people out there this year. We have just a couple of more days with our community photography show here at the Mercer Island Community Gallery. That will wrap up on October 17th. And then from October 20th through December 12th, the annual holiday show will be featured here. There are 2 receptions, one on Thursday, October 23rd, one on Wednesday, December 3rd, both from 5 to 7 p.m. We hope to see our Arts Council there and community members enjoying the art and holiday show. We've also introduced some new autumn programs for our preschool age community members. Music Together has come back since last spring. We have some new sports classes, a new art and parent class. Nancy Stewart is here every Friday for some special sing-alongs, and pre-ballet has also returned after a summer break. Open Art Studio came back this fall. They had a meeting on September 26th. They plan to meet October 24th and November 21st. This is a free open art class that is facilitated by community resident and Arts Council member Irene Rajagopal. There's no registration required. All the supplies are provided, and we're seeing a really great turnout of people coming and trying out some art on our selected Fridays. And Trick or Treat is just around the corner. We host this event with the Chamber of Commerce and also the Town Center businesses. We usually hold this event the Friday prior to Halloween, and this year Halloween is on a Friday, so we're taking full advantage. And from 3:30 to 5:30, Town Center businesses will be open for trick or treating. You can be on the lookout for our recreation team, our right-of-way, police, and youth and family services members. We're going to be down there as well, and we're planning some fun things like a candy tractor. So bring your little ones down to Trick or Treat in Town Center. We're certainly excited to host. And as this is the last Arts Council meeting of the year, I wanted to highlight some of our December events. Our staff are busy getting Town Center lights hung. They also hang lights around the giant sequoia in Mercerdale Park. We will have our tree lighting on Thursday, December 4th. And then on that Saturday, we will partner with the Chamber of Commerce to hold a holiday makers market here in our gym. We're having a community holiday party here at the community center on the 19th, which is also the same evening that Argosy stops by Luther Burbank. So those are our city events, and we have a whole slew of other events by other community organizations. So this will be our marketing to get all of these December events out to the community. And then a quick look at our planning schedule. This will all be our 2026 meetings. We will meet again in January on the 21st. We are planning to hold an Arts Council Guiding Documents workshop on that meeting. We'll get a little bit more casual feel, some roundtable discussions and talks amongst Arts Council members, and we'll be able to go over kind of everything we're looking at for 2026. So that'll be a fun time for you all to, yes, meet and talk business, but also get to know each other a little bit more. And we'll have some more, I'll work with the chair, and we'll come up with some different topics that you all can discuss together. And then we will meet April, July, and October. You all really have a lot of fun, important work coming up. To name a few, we'll go over that Art in Public Places 6-year spending plan, the Greta Hackett Outdoor Sculpture Gallery Activation Plan kickoff, Clark and Groveland Master Plans. Looks like Dean's Children's Park will come back to us. We'll update you on work plan priorities, And then we'll also look at the 1% for the arts funding review. So we'll have a busy 2026 that we're looking forward to. That is all I have for tonight, and go Mariners.
Thank you. The next item of regular business is to review and consider approving the minutes from the July 16th, 2025 regular meeting. Any questions about the minutes? So, counselors, may I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I motion to approve the minutes.
Is there a second?
I second.
Counselors, please turn, so the motion has been made and seconded. So counselors, please turn on your microphones. Will the city staff please conduct a roll call vote?
Thank you, Chair. Counselor Kratzer,
Approve.
Counselor Rock,
Approve.
Counselor Eckley,
Approve.
Vice Chair Scone,
Approve.
Chair Harrington.
Approve.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, so the third item of regular business tonight is is it right, the Dean's Children's Park Site Plan? Public art opportunities. So we welcome Shelby Peralt, Capital Parks Manager.
Great, thank you. It's nice to meet all of you. Shelby Peralt, I joined the city of Mercer Island about 8 months ago, and I'm excited to be giving you an update on Dean's Children's Park and our site plan. Okay. Let's see, there we go. Just a roadmap for tonight. I'll kick things off with some background on the project, walk you through the preliminary community engagement that informed our design concepts, provide a high-level summary of the two designs and the feedback that we received, and then walk you through opportunities for public art as part of this project before we dive into discussion, and I'll end with next steps. So before we dive into the presentation, I just want to briefly highlight the purpose of tonight's conversation. We're here to gather your input on potential public art opportunities for the first phase of improvements that align with the preferred theme for the site plan at Dean's. And I'll bring this slide back up at the end of the presentation as part of our discussion. So kicking things off with project background, the park was originally built in 1962 with support from the Mercer Island Preschool Association, as well as local organizations. The city took over ownership of Island Crest Park in 1968, and then in 1985, the play area was actually renamed to Dean's Children's Park in honor of Phil and Lola Dean, who played a pivotal role in making the park a reality. The Preschool Association has remained an active partner with the city, including during a major play area renovation back in 2005. And then a quick orientation for those of you that may not be super familiar with Dean's. It's actually located within Island Crest Park, which is highlighted in this light blue outline. The park runs along Island Crest Way, which is just along the eastern portion of the park. And then Dean's is highlighted in red, which is adjacent to the bike skills area that was completed in 2023. So, oops, hold on one second. My cursor went a little too fast. Okay. You might be wondering how we arrived at developing a site plan for Dean's. And the answer really comes down to two key drivers. First was the need to replace aging play equipment, and second was the broader opportunities that we uncovered during our site assessments. So the playground itself is really reaching the end of its useful life. A system-wide assessment that we completed as part of our 2022 PROS plan identified Dean's as one of 5 playgrounds to be prioritized for replacement in our 6-year Parks Capital Improvement Plan. What set Dean's apart was not just the age and condition of the equipment, but also the opportunity that the site offers for creating a more inclusive and accessible play experience, thankfully to its relatively flat layout. Now, The second driver came through our on-site review last year. When the project team assessed Deans, it became clear that the need extended beyond just the play equipment. Many of the park's amenities, like the restroom, the picnic shelter, furnishings, paths, and even this fun little moss house that you see in the image, are outdated, in disrepair, or don't meet current accessibility standards. And we also saw an opportunity to better integrate the bike skills area that was done recently. And that means ensuring that both spaces work together. So sharing amenities, improving circulation, and supporting all users that come to the park. So while the project began with a focus on playground replacement, the findings made it pretty clear to us that a more comprehensive site plan was actually the right path forward. Once we received approval from City Council to move forward with this new path, the first step was to hear directly from the community. We wanted to understand how people use the park now, what they value most, and what they envision for its future. So from April to May, we launched the first phase of community engagement to gather that input. As part of this, we had one online survey, hosted an open house, had project booths at 2 community events, and visited 4 elementary schools. And during our school visits, we met with over 1,200 students who were able to vote on what play equipment they wanted to see in the park improvements and what type of theme they wanted represented. And these outreach efforts were really designed to reach a broad cross-section of our community, thinking of families, children, and those longtime park users. And the key takeaways from this round was broad support for inclusive and accessible play, a desire to preserve the park's beautiful wooded character, preference for a unified design theme with the treehouse adventure and fairy tale kingdom really rising to the top, and enthusiasm for diverse and active play elements like swings, spinners, climbers, and even a zip line. The community feedback that we gathered during this first round directly informed the development of 2 concepts. First is the quest, which reflects the fairy tale kingdom theme, and Woodsy Wonders, which represents the treehouse adventure theme. Each concept represents a unique vision for a new, inclusive, and imaginative space for children of all ages and abilities to play together. Before I jump into the concepts themselves, just a little orientation for you. So north is actually looking to the left on the graphic. The parking area is to the right of the park. And then we have Island Crest Way that's running along the top of the graphic. Deans is outlined in red. The adjacent bike skills area is in the yellow dash. And then the pathways are actually in this brown color. So starting off with the quest, this design really brings a storybook adventure to life, starting with this whimsical drawbridge-inspired gateway that sets the tone for imaginative play. So children can explore themed areas like a storybook village and castles along the quest, each offering inclusive, sensory-rich features that have like climbing structures, castle-themed equipment, and accessible paths. And then at the heart of this concept is what we're calling the Journey to Kenton's Dragon, which is a discovery trail that winds through log tunnels and mushroom houses and ends with a hidden treasure chest just beyond Kenton's Dragon. So while the quest really dives into the fantasy side of things, Woodsy Wonders is really inspired by the natural beauty of the forest, welcoming visitors with wood and stone textures and an accessible forest path that guides you through the park. Key features include this little critter corner at the entry for younger children, a discovery path with woodland-themed activities, and a Treehouse Adventure Hub, which is like a dynamic, inclusive play area that has rope climbers, platforms, and more nature-inspired play equipment. High-level summary, but these two concepts were shared with the community in July and August. And for the second phase of outreach, we really focused on gathering feedback on the overall design concepts, the look, feel, and character of the different play equipment, and then also ask questions about specific types of play that they'd like to see at the park. Our engagement included an online survey, conversations with the Friends of Dragon Park, and project booths at 4 of our community events. So Summer Celebration, Mostly Music in the Park, National Night Out, and Pride in the Park. And what we heard was really strong support for Woodsy Wonders, with appreciation for its connection to the park's natural setting in the wooded forest. We also heard continued value for unstructured, imaginative play that encourages creativity and exploration, and a high interest in climbing and sliding elements for the larger play structures. And then in September, we led a site tour with the Parks and Recreation Commission to provide an on-the-ground opportunity to better understand the different design concepts. Following that site tour, the commission expressed support for the Woodsy Wonders concept and recommended refining that concept into the preferred plan for the site plan. So tonight, the public art opportunities that I'll be walking you through all align with the aesthetic of the Woodsy Wonders concept. Now, before I jump in, the site plan will be rolled out in multiple phases over time as budget allows. So at this stage, we are focusing on art for the first phase of improvements of the project. Any other additional art recommendations that you have, we'll be sure to capture in our site plan report that we take to City Council in early 2026. For the first phase, we expect to generate approximately 10 to 15,000 for the 1% program. And the public art that I'll walk you through is broken out into 4 somewhat, I tried to make broad categories, very broad, quote unquote. And the images are meant to spark inspiration for how the park or how the artwork could be integrated into the park. So the first is sculptural elements. The sculptural pieces could really serve multiple functions. So they could create a visual pass-through or serve as a transition between different areas of the park. Or they could even anchor a key entry point. So thinking of the main entrance into the park. And these could be used as gathering spaces or landmarks to help orient park visitors. Second is integrated media. And this art could be incorporated into a building facade, such as the restroom exterior. Some elements could even be more interactive. So thinking of a sensory wall like the bottom left image, or a life-sized game board, or even natural materials like the image on the top right, with logs and stones arranged to mimic a dry riverbed, which could encourage more imaginative play and engagement with nature. And then an integrated art piece could also serve as a focal point at the park entrance, so creating a memorable and welcoming arrival into the play area. And then the third is the more functional site elements, so thinking of like benches or seat walls. And these elements could be sculptural. They could incorporate artistic patterns or textures, or they could use materials that reflect the park's character, so serving both a practical and aesthetic purpose. And then the last is like directional elements or more wayfinding. So sharing this for more inspiration, we'd like the Arts Council to consider wayfinding as a potential element during the final phase of improvements, so that all elements of the park improvements would be captured. That said, if this is a strong contender, we could absolutely explore options that could be built on over time, just knowing that not all of the play equipment will be installed during the first phase of improvements. So if this is a strong contender, we could look at something like the image on the left where you could add elements over time as more equipment is brought into the park. So I know that was a lot of information that I walked you through really quickly. Oops, goodness, this cursor is so fast. But I just want to thank you for listening to everything that I presented tonight. And, you know, really to help guide our next steps. We're here tonight to hear your thoughts on the opportunities that I've walked you through and to see which of these categories feels most compelling and you'd like for us to explore further as we move into the 30% design for this project. So with that, I'd love to open up for any questions and discussion that you'd like to have.
So, yeah, questions?
That was great. That was a great overview and it wasn't too much information, so we all are on the same page. My questions are, how many phases are you anticipating? And do we have a sense of what the dollar amount would be over those phases?
Yeah, those are great questions. We are a little too early in the process still to have a clear idea of the full number of phases. It'll definitely be more than one, but our design team is working on how many phases at this point in time, and we still don't have a budget yet. We're hoping to have that over the next 2 months.
Do you have a ballpark understanding of the budget, possibly?
Well, for the first phase of improvements, we have an allocated budget of 1.5 million. And some of that is including the work for the site plan. So once the site plan effort is over, we'll have 1.3 for the first phase of improvements.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Other questions?
Yeah, I have quite a few. Thank you for all of your ideas, and it's exciting to see that this park is going to transform. I spend a lot of time with my children there, and they love it as it is. So I think it can only get better. I do appreciate that you're respecting the existing nature and natural element of the park. A lot of magical play happens at that park unrelated to play structures. It's on the trails and it's all the logs that fall and the branches that fall. So allowing for that kind of play to continue to happen is nice. And I'm thankful for that. I really liked the different ideas that involved wood and benches that were sculptural and beautiful, and the entry that had the logs stacked up as an archway to enter. And I didn't know how many trees might have to be felled for this project, but if there was a way to potentially preserve them and pay tribute and respect to them by repurposing them in the benches or the wayfinding or the entryway, some of the other further ideas.
Yeah, it's a great suggestion.
And then kids love I call them Easter eggs, just like whenever you go to the Seek and Find and you want to find all the little things, but to create something like that that could be more natural or inlaid in the environment or tie into learning about the nature that exists there. So what type of trees are at Dean's Children's Park, and what do the pine cones look like for the Douglas fir versus the spruce? Just little things like that where they're finding something and they're learning something.
Yeah, it's almost like hidden moments of surprise.
Yeah.
But also educational. So it keeps you guessing and finding, almost like discovering something different when you come to the park.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
I'd like to follow up from that as well. I was really curious about some of the materials that would be used for the equipment, the sustainability, how environmentally sound they may be. If that had been considered yet, it might be too early in the process. And aside from that, I'm curious about any thought, planning, collaboration as far as establishing some sort of identity with the people who live on Mercer Island. It's kind of creating that sense of belonging and island identity. I'm just curious if that has been brought up as well.
So I'll try to remember both of your questions. So the first one was thinking of the more materials for the play equipment itself. And it's a great question. When we did our second round of engagement, part of the exercise was understanding what the look and character the community was really drawn to. And the front runner was more natural, like almost resembling wood type of play structure. So really trying to blend with the wooded character of the park and not having the more modern plastic type of equipment. So trying to have more of a natural emphasis on the equipment itself. And then in regards to the question for the identity, I think that's a great perspective. And Dragon Park, Dean's Park is a beloved park, not only for Islanders, but also for people beyond the island. And I think that, even just going and visiting the schools, all of the kids, once you said the Dragon Park, they knew exactly what you were talking about and just their eyes lit up. And so finding something that creates almost a sense of ownership and pride for the park would just be a really wonderful tribute to the identity of the park.
Did you have other ideas about maybe involving children in an artistic piece or when you're thinking about identity or?
Sorry, not in particular. I was just thinking about something that would represent the people of Mercer Island for those visiting outside the island, and who are we, and creating that sense
Yeah.
of belonging and that social cohesion.
Yeah.
One of the things that and this is just, I apologize if I'm interjecting, but one of the things that we also talked about as a team is, the students played such a pivotal role in getting to where we are today. And thinking of the different opportunities for art, like some of those integrated medias, if there was a way to go back to the schools and have those students participate in an art project that could be part of the facade of one of the restrooms, or thinking of the entry into the park, if there could be an opportunity for those classes to participate in the project again and be able to see it at all these different stages. That's just one of the things that the team has been excited about.
I love that idea of inviting local participants in creating that. And I do a lot of research and work a great deal in arts therapies, and I see so many opportunities here. Poetry, making sounds, body movement in the park. And obviously there are going to be many opportunities in addition to visual arts. And so there are a lot of possibilities here I see, and we could also educate others about the health benefits of the arts and cultural engagement as well through this park and that environment. Thank you.
Yeah, it's just incredible to see all the work that's gone into this. It really is amazing, and also the participation of so many people from the community. And it just shows the strength of our community that we're able to come together and create wonderful spaces for our citizens and visitors. Be more visitors in the future with light rail. And so it's really amazing. And I think we should just collectively thank everybody who has participated in however doing surveys or, all the city work, staff and everything.
Your comments about sharing who we are as a Mercer Island community, I think are quite valid. Every time I go to that park, I meet somebody that's not from Mercer Island every single time. And they love it and they rave about it. So I think that's a good opportunity.
Yeah, I also love that. The two things that stood out to me from the comments that I read in your summaries that were sent out were about creating spaces for families to sit and be, parents and others that are there with their children. And so I think trying to incorporate that, I think would be a priority. And then wayfinding was the other thing that really stood out, but that may be a later phase.
Anybody else? So we thank you very much for your wonderful presentation. And I guess we can move on then. Or we have one more item?
I think that what would be helpful for our team is as we get ready to move into this first phase, what I'm hearing is looking for public art that really celebrates the identity of Mercer Island and that tries to talk about like who we are as a community. But I think what would be helpful is understanding if there's a specific media category that's really compelling to you that we can explore further and bring back to you when we're in the 30% design.
I think there's a lot of ideas there, and I think it's important to understand who we're asking to do it and what will they create and how will it look and how can we harness some of the best things that children create to make something beautiful. An idea that came to mind is maybe they're developing patterns in an art class, and then those patterns become etchings on wood somewhere. Or it could be tiles that they develop that then become a part of a mural. But are there other sort of deeper ways that we can harness the freedom that children have when they're creating art and their uninhibited creativity when we think of a way to layer in different elements and pieces from multiple people?
Anyone else?
I actually had one more question, sorry. Is it an internal team that's developing all of this and the sketches and the research, or have you guys contracted a design firm to do the work?
Great question. So at this phase, we are just having a broad category that we're capturing in our site plan report. Once that is adopted by city council, we'll actually go through an RFQ where we'll look at having either an artist as part of the team or figure out what the best approach is
Mhm.
depending on what path we move forward in. Yeah,
Thank you.
so still to be determined.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Okay, so
Yeah, I
thank
think
you very
so.
much. And I guess we can move on to
Thank you so
to
much.
the next item. So the fourth item of regular business tonight is the Standing Strong Veterans Pergola improvements and operational guidelines. And we welcome back Katie Herzog, Recreation Supervisor and Staff Liaison.
Thank you so much. All right, so tonight we will go over a quick background, the current usage and maintenance of the pergola. We will talk a little bit about the community feedback we have received. And then there are 3 discussion topics that we will look for the Arts Council feedback on tonight. And then through that discussion, we will then move towards next steps. So the Veterans Pergola was installed in 2005 to honor U.S. veterans, designed after community input, emphasizing reflection, performance, and gathering. It features a steel structure, a domed roof, and bronze plaques for service branches. This was funded through the city's beautification fund and 1% for Art in Public Places Fund. And as you know, it is located in Mercerdale Park in the Plaza area. So it's currently a venue for civic and cultural events and passive park use. It's decorated seasonally with lights, flower baskets, and at times temporary art. The use of the pergola is managed by the Parks and Recreation staff who have utilized the community vision and design intent to permit other usage. The Parks Maintenance Team regularly conducts general cleaning, which includes pressure washing annually, removing of unauthorized postings and graffiti, and installing a shade cover seasonally. The pergola was last professionally repainted in 2011. Significant repairs to the original canvas cover occurred in 2012. That cover has been unusable since 2021, just through damage of being up at the pergola. And since 2021, staff have installed a lower cost shade cover seasonally, which is a mesh material. So a community member has provided some comments and requests related to the pergola, which we have heard tonight. But they are stemmed around temporarily hanging items such as flower baskets from the pergola, being seen as inappropriate hangings and contradicts with the intent of the artwork. Holiday lights were okay for this community member. A bronze plaque for the Space Force, a branch of the Armed Forces established in 2019, should be added to the artwork that exists. And the canvas cover should be repaired, or in this case, purchased and installed seasonally instead of the mesh shade. So I'm going to quickly show us our 3 discussion points, and then we'll go back and talk about each one individually. But we will be looking at the Armed Forces plaques. Second, we will discuss the seasonal uses and temporary displays. And then we will discuss the canvas cover. Should the Arts Council wish to include improvements to the pergola in the 6-year work plan, staff would then return in April with updated cost estimates. The updates to the first 2 years of that 6-year work plan will serve as recommendations to City Council for 1% for the arts projects and will be included in the next biennial budget. If desired, staff anticipate developing and recommending appropriate use guidelines for the pergola and would bring those in Q2 of 2026. So those would be our next steps, all dependent on what happens tonight. So I'd like to go back to our discussion 1, which is the Armed Force plaques. Staff have estimated the cost of fabricating new plaques at approximately $1,500 to $3,000 per plaque and approximately $3,000 to $5,000 for installation. So tonight, what I'm looking for is kind of a temperature from the Arts Council of would the addition of plaques for the Space Force and the National Guard branches align with the stated artistic intent and community vision for the pergola? And we can do a thumbs up, we can ask questions or take comments. But again, we're looking for how the Arts Council would like to move forward. And then therefore staff would come back and we would have actual price estimates, actual policies to review and put in place. So yes, we want to add 2 plaques to the pergola.
Maybe we could just briefly have some discussion
Yeah,
about this.
absolutely.
So we're talking about 2 plaques, right?
So
We'll keep the existing ones,
there are 2 plaques that are not included currently.
2 new plaques.
Yes, the Space Force and the National Guard branches.
And do we know why they weren't included?
The Space Force, let me go back to this one because the Space Force was established in 2019. So that one was not included when we first installed the pergola. And that's the main one we're looking at. And then when we kind of did some research, we realized the National Guard plaque was also not included.
I just wanted to thank members here for their service that have served. Thank you. And it looks like it would cost about $10,000, give or take, and maybe less. I mean, those 2 seem like they could be high. Maybe we could get multiple quotes. I'm in favor of adding the 2 plaques.
Yeah, I'm also in favor. And I think it's very important that we have a dedicated space for those who have served.
Agree, I support that.
I support that as well.
Excellent. So staff will move forward with more research so we can, oh, I'm sorry, Suzanne.
I don't know if you can see me. Thumbs up.
Yeah. We will move forward to obtain quotes and bring that back and then look at adding it to the 6-year work plan for art and public places. Okay, our second topic is seasonal uses and temporary displays. So the pergola, being a site for reflection, performance, and community gatherings, has historically been utilized for these purposes, as well as city-coordinated seasonal installations such as lights hanging baskets in the spring and summer, and some temporary art installations such as island lanterns, which is shown on the screen. Do these seasonal and temporary uses align with the stated artistic intent and community vision? And if so, what types of uses should be permitted? And we don't have to get, into the nitty-gritty in this meeting, but looking for, yes, we should have policies around what can be hung and what cannot. And maybe there's something we are leaving out right now that comes to mind that you would like to also further discuss. So again, just looking for a yes, seasonal uses and temporary displays should be allowed, should not be allowed. What does that look like? And then staff again would come back with a development of guidelines for appropriate use.
Yeah, I definitely support the coming back with guidelines. I think that's really important for any, piece or structure that the community supports. I guess I would just say for as far as the types of uses, I would want to make sure that the right people have weighed in to make sure that there's alignment and agreement that it does add respect when we're adding those things. So I would say that would need a little more work as well.
I don't know if you can see me. Can I comment?
Yes.
I would say uses that enhance but do not compete. So in your slide there, I think the lighting sort of enhances, but the lanterns sort of compete with the message that, the purpose of the pergola. If that helps.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
I also think there's an element of it's standing strong and there's pride, but something like the flower baskets could be perceived as weighing down. So the lights enhance. I agree with that comment, but also for me, thinking about it from the standpoint of allowing it to still stand strong.
I think that I'm just, reading from the initial statement that was made. Festive lights during the holidays and live music performances nearby are fitting and respectful uses. I would agree with that. But I also think that we do need to look at the history. We need to look at the other needs of other groups in the community as well. So yeah, first, be great if we could get more information on the history and get some recommendations.
I also think it's an opportunity to potentially add something to our work plan for the future that would provide a more open-ended place for community gathering of various sorts. This exists in a community center where many people go to congregate. I've eaten food there multiple times. But maintaining our respect for this as a memorial and having a separate pergola potentially at that park where there's plenty of space for gathering and representing other community members.
Great, thank you all. We will come back with an appropriate use of the pergola and some guidelines for you all to endorse later on next year. And then our third discussion is around the canvas cover. As mentioned, the current cover is beyond repair and would need to be replaced. The estimated cost for replacement is between $8,000 and $10,000. At this time, staff does not recommend replacing the cover for a couple of reasons. The trees have grown a lot at this park on either side of the pergola, which does provide some more shade. We know this canvas cover did get pretty destroyed and dirty as it does collect a lot of dirt, leaves, things like that. And we're no longer using the pergola as an entertainment stage for our events. For summer celebration, for mostly music in the park and other events, we're bringing in a mobile stage, which has enhanced the entertainment. It has enhanced the sound of these bands because the speakers are up high and things like that. So what we once were using, the pergola as a stage, we no longer are doing that. So our recommendation at this time is not to replace it, but we would love to hear from you tonight if the canvas cover is integral to the stated artistic intent and community vision. And if it is, would you like us to continue to invest in this cover?
So do you want like a thumbs up, thumbs down?
We could
or
We could
does
do a
anyone
thumbs
have
up,
any
thumbs down. We could
comments?
have questions or comments, whichever you'd like to do.
I have a question. It's the purpose of the cover, is that to protect the structure? Is it to, I guess I've never seen the cover on it, and so I'm new here, and so I need a little bit more background.
Yeah, the cover was not part of the original design or installation of the pergola. It came at a later time. And my understanding is it was put in place to kind of act as that shade barrier because it is an open air structure. And again, we were using it for more performance-based events there. So it was providing shade from sun, rain, wind, those types of things, which then did take a toll on that cover.
Thank you.
So if I may, just briefly go back to the hanging question. So I'm just wondering, as you go back and look at the history of the usage, whether or not there are viable alternatives for hanging things at the park, other ways, temporary structures or something that could be used for hanging besides using the pergola. So we can continue to have, the island out lanterns is a very important, I think, activity in our community. But there may be other ways of hanging that can be artistic and interesting and
Mhm.
meaningful.
Thank you. So any thoughts on the cover as far as, maybe we just start with, do you feel it's an integral part of the pergola that has the intent and community vision for this piece?
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I would be in favor of letting the cover go. It sounds like it wasn't part of the original design, and then we don't have a particular purpose for it as far as shade or drizzle. And, it's just not a sustainable uh, option. I mean, the materials degrade over a few years, and it takes a lot of staff time to put it up and maintain it and replace it and clean it. And so I for one would just say would be reasonable to let that go. Maybe that's a $10,000 savings that we could put for adding structures to hang baskets along the pathway around Mercerdale or something. I'm not saying that's what we want to do, but you know, the you know, that's a lot of money. You don't get a lot of bang for it.
And I second her opinion on that.
Agree.
Agree. Agree.
Okay, thank you so much for your input. This is great. And like I stated, we will be back to add some things to that 6-year work plan. Looks like a couple items will go into the next biennium budget, and we will come back with some appropriate use guidelines and a maintenance schedule. We'll bring that back as well.
Okay, so we're ready to move on then? So the fifth item of regular business tonight is the public art donation proposal, Hokusai 20 by Jeffrey Laudenslager. Hope I pronounced that correctly. So we welcome Sarah Bluva, CIP project manager. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Arts Council. I know there's some new faces today, so I'm Sarah Bluvas. I'm Capital Project Manager here for the city. I've worked with the city for over 7 years, and I've actually been involved with the Arts Council my entire time here. So now, even though I primarily focus on planning parks projects for the community, I am still very connected to the Arts Council, especially in terms of public art. Very happy that there were so many public art topics for you all to discuss tonight. But I'm here to kick off a discussion about a potential public art donation. And actually, the potential donors are in the audience today, Bob and Laura Ellen. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Get this going with a quick presentation. I've been running a lag time today, so hold on, let me try this again. I did practice, I promise. Let's try this a different way. Oh, come on, uh-oh. Just a second. Nobody wanted to get out and watch the end of the Mariners game, did they? Yeah, I might need you to drive, Katie, because now I'm even frozen. I'm sorry, my computer's been doing this a lot lately. Let's see what's happening. So I'm also logged out of Zoom now, so, but I think for the sake of time, let's keep going. I can be in omniscient voice in the background. So yeah, if you want to go ahead and advance the slides, Katie. So tonight, like I said, kicking off the discussion for potential public art donation. Tonight, I'm going to provide an overview of the proposed donation, highlight some additional research needs related to the proposal, and then seek some Arts Council direction on next steps. So important to note, I'm not asking for a yes or no on whether or not to accept a donation tonight. Per the guidelines for administering the public art program, which were approved as part of the 6-year work plan for art in public places back in September. We have a specific process for evaluating and accepting potential donations. So we need to gather some more information and direction from you all tonight. And then if it sounds like we want to move forward with getting to that process, I'll come back in the future early next year with some findings from additional research, and then we will get going with a formal review. So just wanted to clarify that. So as a reminder, the city manages a public art collection. We heard about several public art projects tonight. We acquire works of art for the collection through both city commissions and purchases, as well as generous donations by individuals, organizations, and others. And since September 2024, Mercer Island residents, Bob and Laura Ellen Mulia, who are here tonight in the audience, started connecting with staff about a proposal to donate their sculpture Hokusai 20 by the artist Jeffrey Laudenslager to the public art collection. So at that time, we stayed in contact with the donors, in part because the Arts Council was going through the process to develop the 6-year work plan for art in public places. We wanted to get further along in that process and get a city council approval before we started accepting public art donations again. So the city council accepted the work plan back on September 16th. great work to the Arts Council. I can't remember if anybody had fully communicated that to you, but congratulations on that approval. And now we are available and able to start reviewing public art donation proposals again. So this is an exciting one to kick that process off with. So a couple things to note. I will show some images and hopefully a video if we can get it to work, but given the technology challenges we've already had, we may not have that opportunity. But we do have a 3D model of the proposed donation. So I'll grab it here and, well, it's pretty stable so you can play around with it and move it along so everyone can look at it. But so this work of art, it is a kinetic sculpture. The title is Hokusai 20, again, by the artist Jeffrey Laudenslager. A kinetic sculpture, as you likely already know or have probably gathered but from looking at the 3D model, is a moving sculpture. So currently we have 3 kinetic pieces in the public art collection. I will say none of them move as extensively as this one. So this would be an exciting addition to the collection. The materials titanium and the current dimensions, the sculpture itself will stand about 21 feet tall and it weighs approximately 314 pounds. It will also stand on a base. The base is about 3 feet tall and weighs about 90 pounds. So, all in about 400 pounds for the sculpture and about 24 feet in height. And the proposed location from the donors is the roundabout on North Mercer Way and 77th Avenue Southeast in Town Center. So you may recall that this location has been identified as a project opportunity area in the 6-year work plan for art in public places. In fact, it is included on the project opportunities list as a high priority project. So good to keep in mind that the proposed location already aligns with work that the Arts Council has already completed in order to further the public art collection. And so here are some images of other works by the artist. And if we can get a video to load, we'll see. If not, the link to the artist's website, which includes a lot of videos, was included in the proposal in your agenda packet. That's as Exhibit 2. So you can certainly, between now and the next time we come back, check that out. But, very exciting opportunity, very interesting sculptures. Like I mentioned, we don't really have anything like this in the collection currently, and if we were able to cite it in the roundabout, it certainly would be a statement piece, sort of a showstopper within the town center. Oh, Katie might be getting us going with the video. I think it's okay if we can't get it going. Okay, yeah, maybe at the end. So, and you're in presentation mode right now, Katie. Yeah. It's the end of the night. We all want to get to that baseball game. No, it's okay. I could keep it going. So next steps, like I noted, the guidelines for administering the public art program have a process for reviewing donations. The procedure that we would use for this one is the procedure for evaluating submittals for artist selection or artwork selection. So it's the same process for evaluating if we did a call for artists for a public art purchase or a public art commission. So it would include the 4 pillars criteria for evaluating the impact for the community. So as part of that process, we would also identify a selection committee. So if you all decide tonight that you want to continue moving forward in the process to potentially accept this, I would come back at a future meeting with both kind of the additional research that I'll talk about, as well as a proposed selection committee for the project, so we could get that all approved and moved on in one night. But so tonight, as mentioned too in the agenda packet and the staff report, there are a few things that we staff feel we need to research a bit more in partnership with the donors in order to make the best recommendation to the Arts Council about how to move forward. The first piece is we'd like to review the installation requirements with the artist and a structural engineer. So this artist has installed artwork all around the country and around the world, including in locations I've been told that have, oh, we might. Let's do it. Pause. Great. Thank you, Raven. Okay. Great. So very exciting piece. Kind of back to the additional research that we would need to do. So again, first would be to meet with the artist and a structural engineer. Like I mentioned, we don't have anything like this currently installed on the island. So there are a few elements that we would want to confirm with the artist in terms of the installation needs. What is the base need in terms of excavation at the site? How would it be installed? What are the structural calculations associated with installing a piece like this so we can get it permitted? What are the long-term maintenance needs? You know, eventually our team would take this piece over once it becomes part of the public art collection. So we want to make sure that we have a good handle on how to maintain it. So that's the first piece. The second piece is discussing the installation site itself with our city engineers and the right-of-way team. So as I mentioned, very interested in siting this piece in the roundabout on North Mercer Way and 77th Avenue Southeast. Siting artwork in the roadway has varying challenges. So there are certain things, you know, we want to clear with our transportation engineer, any potential roadway risks with our right-of-way team, anything that they would be concerned about, and get their buy-in with the location. And then the final piece is the roundabout is sort of tricky in terms of municipal agencies that we need to coordinate with. So you all may be aware that the roundabout was originally constructed by Sound Transit as part of traffic impact mitigation with the forthcoming light rail station. The roundabout itself was sort of constructed on a combination of multiple parcels. So back in November, I believe, of 2024, Sound Transit started the process to transfer ownership of the roundabout to the city. So we've completed the transfer of I believe two parcels that are associated with the roundabout. The roundabout itself and the improvements like the landscaping are still awaiting transfer to the city. Our city engineer indicated that this would likely happen by the end of this year or early 2026. So it would probably behoove us to wait until that transfer is completed before finalizing, you know, an installation plan, moving forward with the work associated with that. The second piece is that a small portion of the roundabout is sited on WashDOT property. So that adds an extra layer of agency coordination. Anything that we, the city, do on WashDOT property, we need approval from WashDOT in order to complete. We already have precedent of citing artwork on WashDOT property. About 20% of our public art collection is cited in Aubrey Davis Park. So that includes the Greta Hackett Outdoor Sculpture Gallery, as well as all the artwork installed along the lid. So I am confident that we could get the process completed. It just may take some time. So those are sort of the big three pieces: talking with the artist and structural engineer, talking with our city engineers and right of way specifically about citing artwork in the roadway, and then starting the process to coordinate with those other agencies. All of that work is doable. We just want to make sure that, you know, the Arts Council is interested in moving forward with that work, with the eventual end goal of reviewing the proposal and potentially accepting it for donation. So pending your direction tonight, I would come back in early 2026, either I or another staff person, depending on the timing, to present the findings and our recommendation for next steps. So with that, I'm happy to take any questions. I know Bob and Laurel, and I didn't sign you up to speak, but if there is anything else you'd like to say, you're welcome to go to the podium and share information. But
I'll speak. Oh, good.
Good evening, I'm Bob Muglia. It's great to be here, and it's wonderful to see the work of the art committee and the great things you do for our lovely city. We very much appreciate it. Sarah did a great job of talking about the sculpture and sort of the artist and what he's done in the past and shown some of the things. The only thing I'll say is that the sculpture should not really require any maintenance. There's no electricity required for it. It moves completely with the wind, and the bearings are designed to last for decades. So it should have a long lifetime without any real city maintenance associated with it. And we hope that this looks like a good proposal for you, and we very much appreciate your consideration. If you do have any questions, of course, I'm happy to answer them as well. So is there anything I can help you with, or any questions you have for me? Great. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Comments, questions?
I have something, Jonathan.
What's that?
I'm raising my hand.
Oh, Suzanne, yes. Counselor Scone.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, that the art piece is stunning, and we're very grateful for the opportunity to maybe acquire it or have it donated to us, and it's just stunning. However, I'm not sure that's the right location for it. I'd be very surprised if transportation regulators would allow a dynamic piece in that location. I find a lot of people struggle with roundabouts in the first place, and then something that might catch sunlight and flash and move. And we have pedestrians in that location as well. So I am 100% in favor of hopefully acquiring this piece, just not in that location. I do have a proposal, and that is our Primavera sculpture is a little bit tired, probably way past due for a paint job. And I think it would be stunning in that location. And then this sculpture, I would love to see it someplace where people can sit and ponder it. I mean, it's like a dancing lady. It's like a performance. And I don't want to watch a performance when I'm trying to get through a roundabout. I'm in a panic. So that's what I'll say. And I love Primavera. I think Primavera is neglected in its present location. And it's very iconic for Mercer Island. It's been on the covers of magazines and directories and for decades. It does kind of speak to me. It speaks Mercer Island, but this piece is absolutely stunning. And I think to do right by it, it needs to be somewhere where people can sit and enjoy its movement. Thank you.
A couple comments to that. Thank you for those comments. We own a very, very similar piece, and it really doesn't glint in the sun. The titanium it has a rub, it's sort of rubbed titanium in it. So the sun concern, I understand the sun concern is probably less of an actual concern. The other thing is that because it moves, one of the advantages we thought of the roundabout was that it really doesn't have any pedestrian. You're not supposed to be walking where this is. It'd be a very dangerous place, in fact, for someone to walk because the sidewalks surround the roundabout. So I just wanted to address those two comments. I do understand the concern about potentially the fact that it's a very attractive sculpture and people might notice it and they might see the movement and the cars are driving by. I understand that concern completely. We had this reflection that when we thought about roundabouts, historically, we think about Europe and we think about all of the fountains and the things that we go through that are very, very, catch your attention in Europe. Perhaps the concerns in the United States and in Mercer Island are different. I understand that, of course, but we also thought that there was many other situations where people have had beautiful sculptures and things that attract people's attention in roundabouts. But I just want to make sure that concerns are properly reflected. Thank you.
Other comments? Thank you very much.
Well, again, thank you for your generosity in bringing this forward. I love the piece. I think it's phenomenal, and to have a piece like this on Mercer Island would be amazing. I love the location, pending review of all the things that you've noted. So I would be in support.
Thank you as well for your generosity. The piece is beautiful. It's lovely. I think an argument could be made in either way. And Mercer Island would be happy to have this piece. I'm very much in support of it, if it's in the roundabout or if it's another place. Councilmember Scone, I agree with you. When I first saw it and saw the videos, I wanted it to be in a place where I could just sit and watch it and take it in and feel it almost. And that might be hard to do if I'm watching it while cars are going around a roundabout. At the same time, there's a circular motion to it, and a roundabout has circular energy. It's going to need open space. It doesn't need open space, but to have space for the wind to pass to make it activate is also an important thing to think about. So I would just say I'm in support, and I could see it going multiple places.
Again, many thanks to the councils for your diverse and different thinking here. One point to just make is that video shows it moving a lot. It's a very windy. You could see in that video, it's very, very windy. The trees are moving. It's much slower than that most of the time. So while it does move for sure, it's not like the video would tend to indicate, just so people understand that, yes, we do get very windy points in Mercer Island, and there might be times when it would be doing that, but under most circumstances, that's probably not its natural sort of a level of movement.
Thank you. I am so grateful for the possibility of bringing this for the public to appreciate. It's absolutely mesmerizing. And I agree that I would be grateful to see anywhere on the island. I see also both sides being in the roundabout, but also in another location. But I think that to have this for everybody to appreciate is right there is a big win. So thank you.
Yeah, excuse me. This is just a stunning piece, and we really appreciate you bringing this to the island. And it's just, I hope we can find a way to make it work. I think the roundabout would be a great location for it. We need to prepare for light rail, and so the stations are a gateway. And so this would be a piece that would really draw new visitors to the island, to maybe encourage more tourism, more foot traffic. So people, instead of going through from Seattle to Bellevue, will stop here for a couple hours and go shopping and just enjoy the afternoon here on the island. It honors the Asian American community on the island, promotes cultural diversity, and I think it really could be a tourist attraction. And it's very much, I think, linked to the sculpture part, which we really have identified as a council as a priority for us as getting ready for light rail and creating this welcoming gateway. And so I'm not a traffic engineer, so I don't know exactly, what all the other issues are, but I'm just totally supportive of this. And thank you so much.
Great. So I'm hearing, yes, you want us to come back with additional information based on those 3 points. I'm also based on the location conversation I'm hearing, I can work with the donors to potentially evaluate other locations that they would be interested in citing the artwork if the city were to receive it. So I will add that to the list as well. And like I said, we will be back in early 2026. I'm not quite sure which meeting yet. It just depends on timing and how much research we need to do, but you will definitely see us back either at the first or second meeting in 2026 to likely do a formal sort of process to evaluate and potentially accept the artwork. So thank you so much for the discussion tonight, Arts Council. Thank you so much, Bob and Laura Ellen, for bringing this forward, and I'm excited to see it continue moving forward.
Thank you. So our sixth item of regular business tonight is the 25-26 City Arts and Culture Work Plan Update, Q4 2025. And we welcome Katie Herzog, Recreation Supervisor and Staff Liaison.
All right, thank you so much. One last time you'll hear from me tonight. So I don't have a formal presentation for our work plan update. Just, a quick reminder that our arts and culture work plan is designed to guide staff work and initiatives related to arts and culture. This work plan is endorsed by the Arts Council. It was just almost 1 year ago today that it was endorsed by the Arts Council. Our City Council also endorses this through our biennial budget. So this work plan does make it through our full Recreation Division budget process. So what you have in your packet is the priorities and then corresponding objectives to each priority of how we will carry out the work. To date, we have listed in bullet point form what has happened and what we've accomplished so far in this work plan. Some of our objectives you'll see we've met, some we've exceeded, and some of the work is slated for 2026. So we feel very good about where we're at currently. And I will just now open it up for any questions or comments. We will come back in 2026 and give the full, 2-year update to you. You'll also see our Recreation Division annual report of 2025, which of course reflects a lot of this work as well. So you will get a few more touches on this work plan. Next year, we'll also be developing our 27 and 28 priorities. So a lot of work around the work plan goes into our Arts Council meetings. But if there are no questions, that's also fine, but would happy to answer anything that you may have.
So again, the city has done so much work and we just appreciate it so much, all the hard work that especially you've done, but everybody else. And it's a long list. It's a long list of activities. And so we are lucky to have, all these different activities and services for islanders and visitors to the island as well. Anyone else?
I just echo that. A lot of work in that work plan. So great work.
Thank you.
Okay, we'd like to express our appreciation to Mayor Neese, who is retiring from his position on the city council, and thank him for his service as council liaison. This is his last, it was scheduled to be his last Arts Council meeting, and his partnership and support have made a real difference. And we're grateful for all the things that that Mayor Neese has done for the Arts Council and the City Council. And just on a personal note, I'd like to thank Mayor Neese for his support for sustainability on the island, especially his support for the Climate Action Plan. And it's just been a really, really hard time to be mayor, and just his willingness to do it. It's just it just is such a credit, and we're so lucky that he's been here to shepherd us through this difficult time.
Well, look, I appreciate those kind words. I have to admit, I've been cheating a little bit watching the Mariners game on the side here. It's been a brutal game to watch, but I've been enjoying the conversation. And obviously, you know, I think I spent more time serving on the Arts Council than any other committee or board or assignment that I've been on in my almost 9 years on city council. And it's just been a pleasure to see an active working board and all of the folks that have rotated in and out of the Arts Council and their contributions to the island. So thank you for your service. It really is a unique council among the many that we have on the island.
Okay, thank you. And so I think we will now move on to any other businesses, any other business. Does anyone have any additional comments or any new topics you'd like to discuss at this point? If no, then I'd like to move on to absences. So do any counselors have a planned absence for our next regular meeting scheduled for Wednesday, January 1st, 2026? Okay, and so also commissioners may have a motion to excuse the absences for tonight's meeting for Irene, Rajgopal, and Hana Yun. May I have a motion to excuse them?
I motion to excuse their absences.
Is there a second?
I second that.
Any discussion? So commissioners, please turn on your microphones. Will the city staff please conduct a roll call vote?
Thank you, Chair. Counselor Kratzer,
The excuses for absence.
What do I say? Excuse.
Excused, right?
Approved.
Approve.
Approved, yeah, approved.
Counselor Rock,
Approve.
Counselor Eckley,
Approve.
Vice Chair Scone,
Approved.
Chair Harrington.
Approve. Okay, so there being no other business to come before the Arts Council, the time is now 7:07, according to the clock on the wall, and the meeting is adjourned. Counselors, please stay seated until city staff has terminated the Zoom broadcast. Good evening, and thank you very much for joining us.